Hi there everyone, welcome to day 4 of the challenge. So we're looking at finding your purpose and your core message because, as I've said in the previous videos, in life, in business, no matter what business you're in, it's really important to be clear on what you're about, what your message to the world is, why you're here, what you're trying to create. Because when we know that and we're tapped into that, we're living a life of purpose. We're living on purpose. We know the direction that we want to go and we're actively stepping towards it one step at a time. And I know for sure that that feels far more fulfilling for me in a way to live life than if I'm just kind of wandering, drifting aimlessly, never really moving forwards and not getting things done. So if you're like me, then this is really key to you feeling fulfilled, to getting out there with your business, to you feeling motivated every morning, to just feeling good and being on that journey and knowing that you're moving forward and know what you're moving towards too. So if you've just hopped on here and you haven't seen the other videos, I'd love you first to pause this and go back and watch day 1, 2, and 3, because this is like building blocks, right? We need to start with the foundation and build up from there. So watching them in order is going to help you, and it's going to just keep you on track, and it's going to be a bit more clear. And none of the videos are really long, so all of them are just a few minutes long. It's not about taking over your day. It's about doing something short and sweet to really get you on track and help you move forward. So just a quick recap in case you're kind of thinking, oh, like day 1 was ages ago. What was that? So day 1 was, what is life about for you? So make sure that you've done that and you're clear on that. Day 2 was looking at your big shiny vision and getting really clear of what that dream, that vision that you're working towards in your future. And we broke that down to get really specific using the Wheel of Life. Day 3 was looking at what are the things that trigger you and that you know you don't want in your life, and therefore what do you want in your life. So looking at what you don't want first to help get you really clear on what you really do want, because that's where we want our focus to be, on what we do want in life. So day 4, which is today, is about starting to build the identity of the person who's already got the results. So who is the person, who is the you, who has already created that big shiny vision? And that's what I want us to look at today. So I want you to think back to day 2, to that big shiny vision that you created for yourself. And you might want to close your eyes, might want to take a few deep breaths in, just to center yourself and get back in tune with where you are with all of this. So bring back that vision. What were you doing? Where were you? Who is around you? What have you achieved? Who have you become? So I want you to tap back into what that is for you specifically, because as we've said before, it's different for every single one of us. Success is not one thing. Success is very individual, and it's about what that success is for you personally. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take you through just a couple of short questions. You might want to write them down. You might want to pause the video so that you can write them down, and then feel free to post them in the Dreamcatcher group so that other people can see what you put in, so you're doing your own accountability. And as you know, it's lovely to share and support each other on this journey. So when other people see that you've put something down, it kind of motivates them to do the same. And there might be things that you've said that resonates really well with someone else. So it's always good to just be visible, put it out there. I know that's a bit scary sometimes, but the group is fab, it's safe, so it's the perfect place to do it. So think back to what your vision is. And what I want to ask you first and foremost with this is, how committed are you to creating this vision? This is super important, right? How committed are you? If it's a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being you are absolutely, totally committed. No, you will do everything it absolutely takes to make that vision your reality. Give it a 10. If you're not committed at all, give it a 1 or a 0. So where are you on that scale? How committed are you to making this vision real for you and your family and your friends and the people around you? You need to be an 8. If you're not an 8, then I'd ask you to go back and check in. Is this really your vision, or are you buying in somebody else's? Because when you tap into the thing that's your true vision, you will feel totally motivated. You will absolutely feel that drive and that ambition and that motivation to go and make it happen. So if it's not an 8 or a 9 or a 10, I want you to actually think, you know, what's not in alignment for me? Is this really my vision, or am I tapping into somebody else's? And go and have another look at it. If it's an 8, a 9 and a 10, Awesome. What I want you to think about next is close your eyes again and imagine already being that person who has created that vision. You've achieved that goal. You've got there. You've made it happen. You are living that life. I want you to imagine where you are, what your house is like, where you're living, the people around you, what you're doing on a daily basis. And this is really about, as I've said before, everything that we create has to be created first in our minds. We have to see it in our minds before we can create it in the world around us. So the more crystal clear you can have that vision, the more your subconscious is going to be guiding you towards it every single step of the way. And that's what we want. So I've written down the questions so that I don't forget as I'm talking, because I know, and you probably know, that I can go off track sometimes. So question number 1 is, if you were already living that life, if it was your reality right now, what would you notice that's different about yourself? I'm going to read that one more time in case you didn't get it. If you were already living that life, if it was your reality right now, what would you notice is different about yourself? So, is it how you're feeling? Is it how you look? You know, maybe you've wanted to lose weight for a long time and you haven't done, but that's part of your vision. Is it what's around you? Is it just how you hold yourself and your like inner confidence? Is it that you now believe in yourself and so you can, you know, someone looking at you can see that difference? Are you dressing the way that you really want to dress? Is your hair different? Like, have a look at that you. What do you notice is different? And I want you to write it down. And as usual, the more specific you can get with this, the better. The clearer it's going to be, the better results you're going to have. So get super clear, write down everything that comes to mind, okay? Feel free to pause it now before we go on to the next question. Question number 2. To be that person who has created that reality, who is living that life, what did you need to believe about yourself? So as that person who has created their vision, who is living that lovely, shiny, exciting vision, what have you had to believe about yourself to get there? And again, write this down. Anything that comes to mind, there's no right or wrong about this. If you're struggling to come up with ideas, swap your pen to your other hand, have a go at that, see if it unlocks anything. If you're still not anything, breathe deeply, sit up in your chair, because you know how you're sitting. If you're sitting up and you're kind of breathing deeply, you're more likely to come up with those ideas if you're feeling a bit stuck. Okay, question number 3. If you had already achieved that big shiny vision, what would you be focusing on? Again, no right or wrong answer. If you had already achieved that big shiny vision, what would you be focusing on? Get really specific again. Question number 4. If you had already achieved that big shiny vision, what would other people believe about you? Interesting one, right? So this one is going to potentially bring some really interesting things up, because you're going to, of course, because it's always true in life, you have people who love what you do and totally believe in you. And then there are always people who are going to try and knock you down and don't get it, or, you know, just are unhappy or jealous or whatever it might be for them. So there's always going to be those two people, and that's okay, because that's just part of life. You don't want to be vanilla. You want to be some really tasty flavor that people either love or hate. Maybe hate's too strong a word, but you know what I mean, right? So what do others believe about you, the you who has created that vision? Write that down. And if you've got lots that are coming up in terms of negative things, that might well be holding you back from that vision. Because if you're a people pleaser, if you like people to like you, and especially if those people are in your close family or friendship circles, that could very well be holding you back from moving towards that vision. So you need to first know about it. Awareness is number 1, and then start figuring out what you're going to do about it. Next question, and this is your final question, is to be living that vision right now, to have already created it, what would you have to no longer tolerate? What would you no longer tolerate? What would you have given up in your life in order to achieve that vision and make it a reality for you? So these are really juicy questions. Don't rush through them. Really think about it. Really put as much thought and energy and get really specific about this, because the more thought and energy and the more specific you get with this, the clearer it's going to be in your subconscious, the more you're going to be guided to that picture, to that big shiny vision that is super duper important to you. Have fun with this as well, because it's all about having fun. This alignment, this getting into alignment that we're doing right now is about really connecting you to your business, to your dream, to your purpose in life, to the message, to what you speak to people, to how you show up. It's all one. It's all part of that alignment. So really think about it. Really enjoy it. This is fun. This is lighthearted. You don't need to get really stressed and serious. This is about just letting it flow, listening to your inner voice, tapping into what feels right for you, and as I say, getting into that moment of flow, because as you know, that's what I believe in and that's what I think it's all about. So have fun with this. Post your answers or your thoughts in Dream Catchers, because we'd love to see them. Or even just, you know, as I've said before, you could just take a photograph of your page. If you like to write it in your journal, feel free to photograph it and pop it in. We were on day 4 today, so day 5 is tomorrow. We're nearly at the end of this, and it's going to be about pulling all of these bits together so that we've got that clear purpose and that core message. Have an awesome day, and I will talk to you soon. Okay, bye-bye.